salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to give some book recommendations for age gap romances. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to Trope Week. If you guys didn't know, I am posting videos every single day this week where I'm giving book recommendations based on a specific trope, and today is age gap. During an end of these videos, this is one of the last videos I'm filming for this week, and I'm very excited that it's an age gap romance. I feel like throughout the week I've mentioned some romances that already have an age gap, but this is really going there. We have the taboo, steamy, age gap romance recommendations in this video. Most of these recommendations are either novellas or contemporary romances. I'm not talking about any historical romances in this video because I feel like all historical romances can be some form of age gap, especially like a Regency time frame. A lot of the girls are 17, 18, just entering into the marriage mart, and then the guys are like in their 30s. So obviously there's an age gap in those books, but I feel like that's kind of normal. So I'm talking about more contemporary books for this video. I don't want to blab too much. I have quite a few books to talk about, so let's just hop right in. So the first book I want to talk about is So Sweet by Rebecca Weatherspoon, and this is the first book in the Sugar Baby series. The book follows Kayla and Michael. Kayla is kind of down on her luck. She just got fired from her job. She's short on change. She needs a way to pay rent. So she ends up going to like this singles mixer. This mixer is for a company that does online dating specifically for finding sugar daddies. I know. It sounds amazing, right? She's pretty apprehensive about online dating and finding a sugar daddy, but she kind of goes because her roommate convinces her not to leave the mixer, and she ends up bumping into the owner of the app and the company, and they're instantly drawn to each other. End up kind of forming this sugar baby relationship that just turns into a regular relationship. I really love this book, and I really loved their dynamic. The age gap was like 20 years, so it is a pretty big age gap, but again, I just love their relationship and the way they interacted with each other. It was pretty steamy as well. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about is Voyeur by Fiona Cole. I think that's how you pronounce it. It is a part of the Voyeur series, and it is the first book in the series. This book follows Oakland and Callum. Oakland is a college student, and she also is pretty short on cash. She needs some money to pay her tuition, so she ends up working at this club. Now, let me tell you about this club, okay? It's a little sexy club, if you will. Basically, you can go to this place and you can pay to have whatever fantasy, whatever kink, your favorite fantasy, whatever you want, you can pay to have people perform it for you, and you basically like watch the performance. For the series before, the club sounds like a wild good time. But Oakland is told about this club by one of her friends, and she decides that she's gonna give it a try. She's not really sure if it's for her, but once she gets started, she's like, oh, I can actually do this, and it helps her pay her college tuition. Well, our hero goes to this club and sees her and sees one of her performances and instantly is drawn to her, wants her. But there's like a glass between them, so he can see her but she can't see him, so she doesn't know who is watching her. Doesn't know her name, doesn't know anything about her, but just knows that he is absolutely entranced by her. Forward a couple weeks, college semester starts, and lo and behold, Callum is a college professor and one of his students is Oakland. Ding, ding, ding. This is where the forbidden aspect comes in, where the age gap comes in. He's kind of torn because he doesn't really know if he should tell her how he knows her, because again, there was this glass that was preventing her from seeing him. Really attracted to him, but he's also her college professor, so it's pretty taboo. I love this book so much. It was extremely angsty. I say though that this has a couple of trigger warnings. I would definitely recommend reading the Goodreads reviews because this has a couple of trigger warnings for sexual assault. I think the way the author dealt with it was really well done though, and this was one of those books that I read in one sitting. I was addicted to it. I absolutely loved it. Okay, so the next one is Seducing My Guardian by Katie Roberts, and this is the fourth book in a series. It follows Hazel and Devin. Hazel's parents died when I think she was like 16, when she was really really young. After they died, they had like a whole will written out that her guardian was going to be the one in charge of her trust fund until she was 25. Never met her guardian. He was an old military friend of her dad's, and she doesn't really know him beyond seeing him once a year on her birthday. She gets older, and each year that passes by, there's more and more chemistry that's happening between the characters, but they really never allow themselves to go there. Hazel's 25th birthday, he is no longer the guardian of her trust, and she decides she's gonna shoot her shot. She's been crushing hard on him for as long as she could remember. They're both adults, and she goes for it. And when I tell you, this is steamy and wonderful and everything I could ever want, it's all of that. This book has a little bit of role play in it. Basically what they do is that they reenact every single one of her birthdays for the past couple of years. They just live out all of these fantasies in like one weekend in a hotel, and it's fan-freaking-tastic. Katie Roberts has a couple of age gap romances, specifically in this Touch of Taboo series. She has one called Your Dad Will Do. That is a ex-boyfriend's dad trope. Boyfriend cheated on her and she kind of wants revenge, so she decides that she's going to hook up with her ex-boyfriend's dad. Obviously, she has always been attracted to him and interested in him, and she propositions him one night. Another one in this series as well is called My Dad's Best Friend, and obviously this is a dad's best friend trope. So our main character, she has taken over the family business. Her dad owned an architect company, and she ends up getting a client who specifically wants our hero to work on their house. She's always been attracted to her dad's best friend, and they had like one moment of chemistry, but they haven't talked since. So when she goes to convince him to work with her on this project, so decides that she's just gonna go for it and express her feelings for him. And again, they just have a weekend where they play out their fantasies. It's very taboo. The series is called Touch of Taboo, so this one's another good one. Next one is easily the most popular age gap recommendation, and that is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This book is so hyped up, but it deserves all of the hype, truly. The book follows Jordan and Pike. Jordan is actually dating Pike's son. I know, scandalous, but stay with me. Jordan and her boyfriend end up moving into his dad's house because they want to save some money. Her boyfriend really, he's not that great of a boyfriend. Let's like just be completely honest. Work more as friends and not so much in a romantic relationship, but they've definitely got stuck in a rut. Something happens where they do break up, and she ends up not really having a place to live, so she stays in this house, and she notices that she has a strong connection with Pike, who was her ex-boyfriend's dad. So very taboo, but the romance in this book is so freaking beautiful. Like, it doesn't even feel taboo when you're reading it. It just feels like these two characters are like the true definition of soulmates, that they're two people who just belong to each other, and the timing really doesn't work out for them, but they make it work, and it's gorgeous and lovely and steamy. Like 5 out of 5 stars. I cannot recommend it highly enough. Another one that I really liked was Daddy Crush by Adriana Anders. Follows Carl and Jerusha. Jerusha is a young college student who really hasn't talked to her family in a while, so she lives on her own, and she ends up meeting her neighbor, and she's instantly attracted and drawn to him. She really lived a sheltered life, and she hasn't really had her first kiss, but when she meets her neighbor, she decides like he is the one that is gonna do it for her. Wants him to kind of like be her teacher in all things sexy, and it is very sexy. Has a bit of a zaddy kink. So yeah, if you're into that, this is a good one. Another one that was very angsty is the Wolf Hotel series by Nina West. The book follows Abby and Henry. Abby has just gone through a pretty tough breakup. She's also kind of just entering college, and she decides that for the summer she wants to find a job and just get away. So she ends up finding this hotel chain that is opening up a new hotel in Alaska. Kind of like her perfect excuse to get out of her small town and just do something different. So she takes the job at this hotel. When she applies for the position, she applies to be like a landscaper or a gardener or something like that. But she ends up getting transferred to be the assistant of the CEO of the company. This is an office romance, very taboo. The CEO of the company is Henry, and they are both instantly attracted to each other and they form a relationship. So this is a pretty taboo, angsty romance because it's an age gap romance as well as an office romance. So they're trying to hide their relationship. This book is a wild, wild ride. It's pretty angsty. It's pretty campy. It has like your very typical villains, but there was something about this book that I was so addicted to, and I just like needed to stay on the train and needed to read all the books. And I did. I have to recommend it because it's just one of those books that I loved, but it's pretty campy. I will tell you that right now. Campy, I mean, it's like very dramatic, very over the top, kind of reads like a telenovela. But I kind of like that. So the next one that I want to recommend is one of my all-time favorites, and I've talked about it a ton on my channel. I have a whole reading vlog for this entire series, and that is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. It's the first book in the Green Creek series. This follows Joe and Ox, and there is a 6-year age gap. So it doesn't really seem like a big age gap, but in the book it really kind of is. Our main character, Ox, ends up moving to this small town, and he is instantly drawn to a family that lives in the forest and usually makes friends with their youngest brother, Joe, and like I said, a 6-year age gap. So really their relationship started off as a friendship since they met when they were younger. It turned out that this family were werewolves and he was Joe's mate. This book is perfect. I can't say it enough. The entire series is beautiful. All of them feature male-male romances and paranormal romances because it follows this family of werewolves. The plot is amazing. The romance is amazing. The angst. TJ Klune really just nailed it with this series. So yeah, I would highly recommend this one. So we cannot have a video all about age gaps if we do not mention Miss Jessica Cain herself. She has so many novellas. I read a lot of them, and a lot of them have the age gap trope. So if I were to talk about all of them, we would be here for a really long time. So I'm just going to talk about my top 3 favorites. First one, I think I've mentioned on my channel before, and it's Pitcher's Assistant. Heroine is a reporter and she really wants to make a name for herself in her career. So she decides that the way to do that is to get an interview with this elusive baseball player that never gives interviews. So she ends up going into the locker room, and the second that she walks into the locker room, our hero sees her and is like, I want you, you're mine, I'll give you that interview, I will give you all of my money, whatever you want, just spend some time with me. And I love it. It's like kind of like an insta-love situation. There is an age gap, and oof. So another Jessica Cain book that I really liked was Husky. Book, our heroine is a fashion designer and she has to come up with like a whole fashion line for this runway that she's doing. She ends up meeting our hero at a bar, and he's the bar owner, and she's instantly like, yes, you're gorgeous, you're perfect, I need you to model for my clothes. It's a series of novellas that Jessica Cain does where it features thick heroes. So he is a little husky, a little thick. They're strong, they're sexy. The last Jessica Cain that I would say is one of my favorites is Burly, and this is another dad's best friend trope. So our heroine is a pop star. She ends up getting a stalker, so she really doesn't feel comfortable and she needs to hire a bodyguard, and the only person that she trusts is her dad's best friend. He used to be in the military and they have always been really kind of drawn to each other, but they've never really gone there because, you know, he's her dad's best friend and it's taboo, but they go there. And with a Jessica Cain book, you know that you're gonna get something steamy. You're probably gonna get an age gap. You're probably gonna get the zaddy kink. It just is what it is. She really goes there. She has a ton of novellas, so if you like one, you have like 50 more to read. Those were all my recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Let me talk about some that are on my TBR. I really wanted to read them for this video, but I just didn't have time. So let me talk about the ones that are on my TBR. So the first one is The Pool Boy by Nikki Sloan. Okay, I have heard nothing but good things about this book. Like, everyone who reads this book loves it. And this one is actually an older woman, younger guy, which I really like. So it follows our heroine who's just going through a rough time. She ends up catching her husband cheating on her. I know, sad. So she decides that she is just gonna live her life. Okay, she's outside tanning, topless, you know, just living her life, like I said. And she ends up bumping into her pool guy who is younger than her. But what makes it taboo is that he is her best friend's son. So yes, it's a very taboo romance. The age gap, it has the taboo element. Our characters are very attracted to each other, and I think they also end up bonding over like music or something. This is the second book in her Nashville Neighborhood series. So yeah, I really want to read this one. Another one I want to read is His Forever Love by Lucy Darling. Sorry that I'm looking down. I'm reading the synopsis on Goodreads. Lucy Darling writes a ton of novellas that I really enjoy. This one is an age gap romance, obviously. Our hero is a head coach of a college football team, and then our heroine is a freshman at that college. So it's pretty taboo. I love novellas, I love Lucy Darling's writing, and I love sports romances. So this one sounds like a great one. The last one that I'm interested in is Mr. Masters by T.L. Swan. T.L. Swan is another author that I've heard nothing but great things about. Our heroine, who is pretty low on some cash, so she ends up taking this job to be a nanny. She's being a nanny for like a single mom or something like that. But it turns out that she is a nanny to a single dad, and boy oh boy is this guy spicy hot. The relationship is pretty taboo because he's her boss. He also works as a judge in their town, but obviously there's chemistry and they have a romance, and I'm really interested in reading this one. So those are the three that are on my TBR and I didn't get a chance to read for this video, but if you've read them, let me know down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying Trope Week so far. We only have one day left, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm doing like a mosh posh of recommendations. I asked you guys on Instagram some of your favorite tropes, and I just picked a couple and gave you guys recommendations. I tried to pick tropes that I didn't already discuss in this week, so I will see you in tomorrow's video. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!